pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that, and if we'll call the roll, we'll get started.
Julie Braga,
Present.
Mayor Connors,
Present.
Vice Chair Hermanson, Larry Johns,
Present.
Alex Littrus,
Present.
Mayor Medina, Wayne Sword,
Here?
John Moran, Chair Feltner.
I'm here. I think we have a quorum. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Are there any disclosures, anything anyone needs to disclose before we get started? No? We have minutes to approve for September 24th meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve, Braga.
We have a motion by Julie Braga.
I'll second it.
I have a second by Larry Johns. We'll call the roll on that.
Julie Braga,
Aye.
Mayor Connors,
Yes.
Larry Johns,
Aye.
Alex Littrus,
Aye.
Wayne Sword,
Yes.
Chair Feltner.
Yes, we'll show that adopted. Thank you. And Peter, I guess we'll go to the clerk.
Yes, sir. I know there were some questions that the TDC had at the last meeting, so Marty Miller is here from the clerk's office. He brought his team with him, so Marty, if you want to come on up to the podium, and certainly welcome to open up for questions.
Do you have a presentation for us first, Marty, or is that what you want to do, or want us to just sort of jump into
Yeah,
questions?
just go ahead and jump in. I mean, we're kind of still in
Well,
the mix, so
I-
I don't really have a formal presentation of any sort.
You don't have a formal presentation?
No.
Okay. I think most of our questions were from possibly Tom Hermanson, so we might not have that many today since he's not here. But why don't you just give us a quick overview of what it's going to be like for you to collect the tourism tax going forward?
Well, I can kind of start where we are today.
Yep.
You know, we assembled a team relatively quickly. It was about 3 or 4 months. Purchased a new software program. It was, designed for TDT collection and compliance. But like any software program, I mean, it's just kind of unheard of, obviously, to purchase something out of the box, go online, and then try to build it out from there. So that's probably been, I mean, the largest hurdle thus far is aligning that program as we on the fly. So the team has done an amazing job. I honestly did not expect it to go as well as it has. I mean, it's nothing's going to be perfect. I don't think anybody in this room had an expectation that, that it was going to be a seamless action across the board. But, it's thus far as of today, we stand at collections around 844,000 this far. And that is, I just confirmed that we have not received our voluntary collection agreements with VRBO and Airbnb. We have not received their remittance yet. So it would stand to, reason that it'll be close to alignment. And I don't, in Peter's projections, I'm not sure what the projections were based on historical monthly data, but I mean, it's not too far off. I mean, we still have a lot of clients that are either maybe remitted a little early to avoid the problem of the transition. Now they're showing up. We're seeing a big spike again in the last week of operators coming in and registering new properties, and we're coaching them through. I mean, we still have our technical issues on how to handle certain niche different property managers' issues. There's a lot to learn in this space, which none of us knew before 3 or 4 months ago until we started researching it. And, that's probably a thought for another day. But, as far as it goes now, I'm pretty confident that, once we get past this first few months and get the majority of people registered, and then we can see through the software's collection data that we can see who's out there in that space and operating and collecting, collecting that tourism tax but not remitting it. So then the compliance portion will come into effect. I don't know when that transition be. Right now is just the big lift is getting all of the customers that were previously with the tax collector transitioned over. You're dealing with, honestly, the hotels and motels are fantastic. The people that are in this business space, the property managers, people like that, fantastic. They're used to this kind of thing. And coming in and re-registering all their properties under the system, not a big deal. It's just a lot of the mom and pops who have 1 or 2 properties, who are, they don't keep a real close eye on their business. So it's a stretch having them to go back and, we are requiring them, even though we have the VCA, that they need to report their gross incomes on those platforms to us. Yeah, there's a little pushback about that, but it's the only way that we're really going to be able to ensure good compliance is if we have that, rather than just getting that check from those VCA checks. I'm not sure how long we'll have those VCAs. Originally, it'd be one thing if Airbnb and VRBO, it was an all or nothing. If they were going to collect the tax for their customers or not. But they both decided in their agreements that they give their clients the option. And so we don't know who those that have decided to remit their own tax are, and we have one shot at at the apple. We can, one bite, we can ask for that information from VRBO and Airbnb once a year and do those reconciles to see who's on their platform that it's been, who decided to collect their own, and who is not. So, that kind of compliance will come later on down the road. But, I think the visions is well established. I think the personnel that we've assembled is beyond capable of getting this all ironed out. I don't wish anybody implementing a new software system in 2 or 3 months. Just don't do it. But that's the way it is. So, but we're taking it in stride. We're going to do the utmost best we can, and we're going to try to increase compliance over the next few years. It's just going to take a little time for us to get a handle on that, get things running a little bit more smoothly in that space, and then we can start doing our compliance work, which, if the numbers are correct, then, there is money left out there that is rightfully the county's, and we need to find that, so. But if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, I don't have a lot of details, but go ahead.
Well, I have a card for the tax collector, and see her here. I don't want to keep you all day. Do you want? You could speak now, and maybe that would be timely.
You can
and then
ask both of us.
And then we'll go to questions.
Thank you, Rob.
Yep.
I appreciate that. I wanted to address some comments that were made during the last board meeting and clarify some things for all of you. I just put a mint in my mouth. I expected to be a public comment. You had asked Peter if I had turned information over to the clerk's office. One of the things we deal with is our RISE agreement. And as soon as that was in place, we did turn all the information over about our accounts. And in fact, after your last meeting, I called Rachel and I said, is there anything else you need from me? Because I don't want you to be lacking in information. So we did turn over what we could. We also did put out a communication to each of our account contacts that we would cease collection as of October 1, and our auditing would also cease as of that date. But this communication also included contact information for the clerk that they had given to me. So it had a phone number and an email address, which included their website. So I wanted you to know that we did share that information on our behalf, and I believe, Marty, you did put out some information as well.
Absolutely.
So we've really tried to cover that. If you're having people come to you that weren't notified, I don't know what rock they've been under. The question was also asked, I believe it was Mr. Hermanson, as to why the tax collector's office will not be collecting tourist development tax. So this goes back to June of 2023. And I'm going to tell you some things that you may not be aware of. It was then that the members of the Board of County Commissioners decided to try to exert authority over the budget of the tax collector's office. They passed Resolution 2361. At that time, in 2023, I told the then county manager that two of the first reductions I would have to make, one would be in regards to tourist development tax collection. My guess is that wasn't shared with Mr. Kranis or this council. I apologize for that. So again, in February 2024 and 2025, the board, referencing that resolution, called for constitutional officers to appear at the Board of County Commissioners meeting to explain the basis and need for any budget increases over 3% for that coming fiscal year. The majority of the services offered by the tax collector's office are those on the behalf of state agencies. We provide those at the local level to our citizens. In an email dated February 26, 2025, I told the county manager that I was evaluating those collections. Again, I don't think that was shared with this council. I officially notified the county manager's office that I would no longer collect the tourist development tax on May 1st, 2025. This was a budgetary decision for the tax collector's office. Plain and simple. Wasn't anything about it, but if the budget of the tax collector's office is going to be called into question, you need to look at the things you can cut, the things that you are not statutorily required to take care of, and unfortunately, that was one of the things that was on the chopping block. I'm going to encourage you to work with the clerk on enforcement. In the past 17 years, I've met with little to no help in that area. This county has code enforcement that could help you. The worst thing I could do to them was file a warrant. And many times those warrants were just ignored. I also want to caution you, you're going to find accounts in unincorporated Brevard that should not be short-term renting that you will be collecting for. You're going to have to make a decision as to whether you want to keep collecting that money or not. I asked that question several times and received no answer. But I wanted to make myself available today. If you have any questions, the reasoning behind why I did anything, I just wanted you to know from me why the decision was made.
Okay, thank you very much. Since the tax collector is here and out of deference for her time, is there any question? No? Okay. we'll go back to Marty. Questions for Marty on the current collection and where we're headed to?
Yeah, I'll just say though, once we can get established, I mean, we're really in the thick of it. It was just the 20th, it was just the other day. We are not collecting penalties as of yet because the onus is on us, not the taxpayers in this position, until we can get that figured out. We will start collecting those in the subsequent months. But once we feel confident that, we have our game together and that, then we'll start collecting those. At that time, if you'd like to, I can bring in, the PowerPoint or share our web application. And so you can, if you would like to see, if you want to see where these VRBOs and short-term rentals are, more than happy to bring that into to show you.
Let me say something that the tax collector rightly brought up, because we did have a conversation before, and I appreciate you being here today, Lisa. On the issue of collecting short-term rental in unincorporated areas of Brevard where they shouldn't be doing short-term rentals is a dilemma. And I don't know that it's one to be solved by the clerk, because my understanding is, we have a code enforcement problem at that point. And can local government initiate code enforcement complaint, basically, without a resident or someone else making the complaint? Can you speak to that? Because my understanding is that we can't.
I can give you an avenue to.
You have to speak into the mic there. Yeah.
I can give you an avenue as to get there.
Okay.
And that would be through what we call it's called Rentalscape through Deckard Technologies. And we just had a meeting with the entire team and the CEO of the company yesterday. They're doing really exciting things in this space, and the technology is driving forward. So I've requested from the county's IT, the GIS mapping to integrate over into Deckard's system. And, Peter's provided me the historical reports that came in each month that had a breakdown of the localities and things. And I am, again,
I don't know if I'm debating that the technology exists, and I don't mean to interrupt, but
I'm going to be able to show you
on the code
where they are.
enforcement side, I don't think we can initiate a code enforcement action
Without a complaint?
without someone making the complaint. I don't think the county can, like, for example, we don't drive around and look for fences
Right.
that are on the ground that have fallen down. A neighbor calls, and I think that's a requirement in statute. Am I reading?
Well,
Are we wrong on that?
so the system we got is an enterprise license agreement. So I met with Doug Carter, Fire Marshal. They have a great interest in this as well, to inspect all the short-term rentals.
Right.
I'm going to provide him his own account where he can go in and he's going to identify in the unincorporated. That was kind of where the mapping came in.
Right.
I can designate the exact cutout of where the unincorporated areas are. There are highlighted dots all over the map. You hone in on them. It shows you where their listings are. It shows you their listing on the site. It tells you how long they've been on the site. It tells you how much they've been advertising each night for, and then how many nights they blocked off. And it does the estimations of tax that way. But in that regard, the code enforcement office could have a login as well. And, I can exclude all of the financial data, and they can simply see on the map exactly, it's the geolocation. It's not where the person that owns it, it's exactly where it is. So nobody really has to initiate it. They can just go out on their own based on the technology.
I think the tax collector had something there.
I would urge you to talk to some of the cities, especially like Cocoa Beach, under their code enforcement and how they handle it. You have life, health, safety issues. Some of these rentals will not have the proper
Sprinklers.
Smoke detectors.
smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, all of the different safety safeguards that you have if you stay in a brick and mortar hotel. In each of your room, you're going to have that fire detector. You're going to have clear direction as to where the fire extinguisher is. And I think that's where those cities hung their hat, was life, health, safety, and followed through with the code enforcement.
And I think some of those cities, not for nothing, were preempted by the state. Some of them had.
Depends on when they had.
Right, exactly. Yes. And that's quite a current topic, because even the board asked, so we're not maybe going to get it, but for the state not to preempt local government on their code with regards to that. Okay, because I think code enforcement's a separate sort of arm of it, and it's hard. There is that dilemma of we have to have a complaint, but I understand what both of you are saying. Since we have them both here, are there other questions for either the tax collector or for the clerk's office?
And just so you know, too, that Marty can call our office anytime.
Yeah, that's true.
We've really had an open door with them.
I think
I want them to succeed.
And I do not even pretend to understand these political situations. But I can just speak to the fact that, like, the biggest hurdle was honestly the state with the RISE
RISE.
agreement. I mean, we submitted our RISE agreement, and it was like weeks and weeks were going by, nothing was happening. Of course, I'm becoming quite alarmed because I can't get any information. We can't,
Try
share
collecting
at all
property tax and dealing with that.
that information. But, so I've called 5 or 6 times. Finally, I got the poor lady, just got tired of listening to me, and she went and got somebody. They had, the person that was in charge of the RISE agreement left, and they didn't tell anybody. So it was sitting on somebody's desk, and nobody was doing anything about it, so.
Let me ask, because I was thinking something with both of you standing here. The board had agreed before that if we find a rental on a homesteaded property, so whether that's a long-term renter or that is, and we gave that direction for code enforcement specifically, or we find a short-term rental, that we are going to report that to the property appraiser. So for the purpose of homestead, that's
We do.
Yeah, that's a
We did.
completely different thing. So,
They were on our RISE agreement. I don't know if you've added to them to yours yet, but if you find a short-term rental on a homesteaded property, they need to know.
Oh, yeah, and we could extract that
yeah,
pretty
we don't need
easily.
somebody to complain. I mean,
No.
anybody can
No.
inform the property appraiser
And
of
quite
that.
honestly, yeah, she could come over at any point, her team could ask, we could carve out, the entire county, and we could provide her all the listings. I mean, we have the evidentiary data to go to court with them if they're saying, no, I've never rented on a platform. Well,
Yeah,
here's
well,
your-
it's
the last 5 years,
it's
this is
always
how much you
been
collected, and this is
an
what you got.
interesting thing when they go to the VAB, and I'm saying, having worked for the property appraiser, and so the issue of whether I've rented my homesteaded property or not, and there's a funny thing where it's like, well, you got 20 good reviews on VRBO, so
Yeah.
good for you. It sounds like a nice place to stay. You can't have homestead on it.
She will
Uh,
investigate them. The
yes,
property
they're very
appraiser
aggressive.
does investigate.
Yeah,
She has
absolutely.
everything I've turned over to her.
But if we find it, we're going to send it on. Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, that portion, we're excited to show you. I mean, if there was time, somebody could log into their account and just give you a brief look as to what that map looks like and what it provides you. But if you want to wait till another month, that's fine too.
Okay, Julie.
Hi, thank you for coming. I think I was trying to summarize what Tom was asking the questions, and I think as a hotelier, we were caught a little bit off guard as to the why this has happened, so I really appreciate you addressing that and making sure there's continuity, and that, a fair playing field is something the brick and mortar hotels have always fought for in this space, so it's very encouraging to hear that the technology is keeping up to date. So I think that I don't think I have any additional questions because you guys answered all the questions, but from what I remember, Tom's discussion is just we felt like it was a little bit out of left field. We didn't know what was going on, why, what was happening with this. And just making sure that there was good communication and that it was all covered. I think that was the gist of, please let me know if I'm mistaken, if he had more specific questions, but that was the gist of what I understood from his line of questioning last month that,
I'm going to agree with you, and also many conversations I've had with him over many years, and I'm gesturing because he usually sits over here.
I'm not Tom.
But that, obviously, I mean, let's be honest, Airbnb, short-term rentals, VRBO, whatever you want to call them today, they are competitors.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so, sometimes they, like was said earlier about, the fire, the smoke detectors and the sprinklers, they don't do all that stuff that a hotel has got to pay for. That comes at a great expense. And so competing maybe in an unfair situation. I think the state even now has addressed that if once you get, you have a condo, that once it's over 50%, it basically, you got to follow the same rules as a hotel. They make them, because I know a couple old condos that are out there having to retrofit their sprinkler system, and it's very expensive, and I think they're doing some soul searching, saying, hey, is this...
Is it worth it?
Is it really, this is, all the rest of the stuff that we're having to do as condo association, do we want to do that today? Anyways, I think that's where he's coming from.
His questions were very valid, because it's easy to identify a brick and mortar hotel. If I'm renting my house 3 months out of the year, that's very hard to keep tabs on. And it's an unfair playing field for you all, so I completely understand his questions, and
Yeah.
he should rightfully be asking them.
yeah, it's great, thank you. So happy to hear that this is as smooth as possible transition.
Yeah, this is not easy.
No.
Hey, I don't even want to make light of it. I mean, what is there we've it's over 6,000 short-term rentals in this county. So we have a lot of work to do. So I'm not coming in to tell you that it's all roses. We're doing it's smooth as silk, but we're going to get there.
But if they have a question,
We have
we're
no
gonna help.
problem with that.
Their software is just completely different than what we use, so can't be
We,
much help in that regard, but,
We know our destination. We see it, but we just got to
and
get
they
there.
are fully capable. I don't think you are.
Yeah, we're not scared of it, that's for sure.
They're going to do a good job.
Okay, any other questions? No? If we're, Alex?
Yeah, Commissioner Feltner, you were talking about this idea of these unincorporated areas and how that's kind of a conundrum. If the way they're going to be discovered is by paying the TDT money, is kind of enforcing that way going to perhaps drive them underground where they'll just, okay, I won't collect the money, I won't pay the money, or worse, collect it but don't pay it, now we're talking fraud. Or is your method of finding them and either shutting them down or getting them in compliance different from just, well, if they're paying and then they're in an unincorporated area, let's go after them?
Completely different.
Okay.
The technology that we're using, the company every night at midnight scrapes the entire internet, and it scrapes, 15 or 16 or more platforms? All 15 or 16 different platforms, besides VRBO and Airbnb, some European websites. It scrapes the entire internet. If you've posted, on that platform to rent, then it's geolocated on our map. I can tell you the exact location where that property is. I can tell you the mailing address of the owner, the property manager's address. I can give you just a wealth of data on that without asking anyone. It's right there to be looked. I just looked this afternoon and counted 4 behind the courthouse. But I can also see that, they haven't collected a single dollar in the last 3 years that they've been on the platform. They're not actually active on the platform anymore. They got off of it. I'm not worried about them, so great. I don't have to, there's no effort that's going to be applied to going after them. But I'm looking for the red dots. The red dots are the ones that they're on the listings now. They're active on the listing. Pop into them like, you've collected $450 last month. So, I mean, it's right there. There's no, I don't have to wait to compare it to the RISE agreement sales data. I mean, that's a factual thing we're going to have to do. That just makes a better case. But in the interim, yeah, I mean, code enforcement is just going to pop the map on every morning, and if they're going to see a flag that says there was a new short-term rental that has popped up within the unincorporated area of Brevard, they just open up their file,
Now,
and boom, and there it is.
Can I clarify, because I think they're two different things there. I'll suppose, and we had talked in the past, and I think we agree, if you're listing your property on VRBO, Expedia, Airbnb, all that kind of stuff, I mean, you're getting the tax because you're paying
My-
through.
My agreement, what I heard Marty say, my agreement was different than theirs.
They just slightly changed theirs.
My agreement forced them to pay. I guess they have the option.
So Airbnb has, I guess, historically had a button that's allowed the customer, the owner, to select that they'd collect the tax, and they weren't reporting that. So in fairness to VRBO, they want to offer the same competitive deal to their biggest competitor.
Because
so
I
they
thought
don't.
that was an important part of the agreement with the state.
Those were our agreements with those particular platforms.
But the state's interest is making sure they get sales tax.
Right. So, and let's talk a little bit about that. When you have a hotelier and you look at sales tax against their tourist development tax, if they have like a little snack shop or something like that, that they sell items out of, sometimes they have tourist items that they sell. They're
Or
going
if
to
you- or if
collect
you have a
sales
banquet.
tax on those things, but they're not going to collect tourist development tax on those things. So what we found in our years of auditing, we may go in and audit an account, and we will see a certain amount of sales tax collection, and that may have initiated the audit with us. But then we have them prove what were their sales in this area, what were their rentals. So you can, through an audit process, that would have been a flag for us to audit an account. So you can't say for every dollar of sales tax that is collected by these entities that they're going to have the same amount in tourist development tax collections. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I suppose weddings don't pay occupancy tax. Right, right, not in the bar, not in the bar. But I guess I was thinking that through VRBO and the online stuff, they're collecting it sort of upfront, because I mean, I pay with my credit card right there when I make the reservation. They got it, they remit it to local government, to the state, whatever. It's not like I show up, wherever I'm going and I say, hey, here's the check for you and here's the check for your tax collector or whatever.
I think that's changing.
Yeah, that's what you talk about, the blank check? Yeah, they just issue a blank check with no real accounting. That's why I'm saying, in the interim, it's great. It's something we needed to do with a short turnaround. That would have been, we decided that maybe we're going to go back within 12 months, look to see if we even need those, because we'd like each individual owner to start reporting the gross.
I suppose the ones that are advertised, let's go back to the condo association, so we're whatever, Tower, and Cocoa Beach Tower, check in at the, with the receptionist or whatever when you get here and take care of things, and then, they don't collect it through a website, and then you pay when you get there. Those would be the ones to look at, because they're maybe not automatically remitting it, and you don't have that electronically.
There's condos right on the barge canal that I can tell you that you should look at.
Yeah, we've got a couple of marinas that have
Now,
30
do they
boats.
do it that way, where basically you book directly through them, or they book it I book it online, or
They
do I
have
call them?
various ways to book those.
Yeah, we're
Maybe you-
never going to have 100% compliance. I just
They'll have
assure
them
you.
on both platforms, they'll rent them themselves, they'll be on Craigslist, it's all kinds of.
Yeah, there's all kinds of, you look at Zillow now has Zillow Rents, that's a sub-business or subsidiary business of that. And, if you get into it, and which we are, is going in and you can hit a filter button for short-term, and then up comes all the local short-term rentals. Now I'm comparing a lot of these, and they're actually on VRBO and Airbnb, they're listing on both sites. But that one would be difficult, because then you're contacting the rental agent by phone, email, so it's kind of outside that scope. So, yeah, all of these over the years will have to be looked at. You know, it's going to be a due diligence for us to go in and find, I mean, it's just like a criminal investigation, you know? You
And the
gotta learn how they do
landscape
it.
constantly changes.
Yeah, it constantly changes. You
And the
gotta
state
evolve.
has the same dilemma. They're
Yeah.
trying to keep up to
Now, the
DORs.
state will give them the sales tax information, and they can bump up against it. And that, we did that many times, and that's how we would possibly pick an account to audit, when the sales tax and the tourist development tax was so far off.
Okay, maybe we still have some questions.
Go for it, go ahead.
Go ahead, Alex.
Well, just finishing on this, the method that you're talking about where you can find these offenders, am I right in understanding they don't necessarily have the green light for that yet, right? In order for them to start doing these sweeps that you're talking about and find these entities?
Correct.
Does
Well, you might-
commission need to say?
Well, you've
Go
got,
ahead.
we got two things that we're talking about here. We're talking about them not getting the short-term rental tax, et cetera, okay? That they're going to do, and they're going to be aggressive with it. As far as illicit short-term rental, okay, you live in a single-family residential neighborhood in unincorporated Brevard, and you should not be renting your house because the zoning doesn't allow for that. Now, that's a different thing. And so even what I'm saying is, and part of our dilemma, and I think this is what, I think this is in statute, is just because they found it, that doesn't initiate a code enforcement complaint. I think you need a neighbor, or there has to be someone who makes a complaint. It's not initiated by the county or a county agency.
And in order to file a warrant against that homeowner with the clerk of the court, I had to have some historical data to come up with a formulation for how much I was putting on that warrant. So I wouldn't have had that if they were illicit.
Can I ask a follow-up question? I just want to make sure I'm clear, because there's a lot of different conversations. So previously, under your collection, the contracts from the Airbnb and VRBOs were that they did collect the tax and remit that tax to you?
If it was on the platform,
Right.
it was mandatory that it be paid through the platform and remitted to me by that platform.
And now you're saying that is no longer?
Yeah, their attorneys, both for VRBO and Airbnb, are steadfast. Airbnb, according to most, they've always allowed this on their platform. It wasn't until a lot of clerks and tax collectors around the state that collect this tax raised the alarm. And so now VRBO, they're just looking out for their best interest. That's their major competitor. They want to offer the same. So they steadfastly put it in there that they're providing an option. I do have one shot, and I'm sure Lisa had one shot too, a year. It's a handcuff for sure. One shot a year, I can go in and ask for that data.
So it's also
we-
the state sales tax that's not being collected? I mean, it's not like they're collecting it for the state and not remitting it to the county, right? So it's the whole thing. It's the whole
Many
$12 on
times.
every
Many times.
100, right, is what
Right.
we're talking about? That is
But
optional?
The state has more enforcement with the sales tax. It's just like Tom brought out in your last meeting. They do have more remedies available to them when you have a short-term rental that is not paying sales tax versus what we would have not paying tourist development tax.
I guess I'm surprised that the state would allow that to be optional.
This is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, this is huge for the budget. I mean, we fought for years as a community and as a TDC to get this to where, and it dramatically changed the budget. I remember, I wasn't on the TDC then, but I
I
remember.
was the second tax collector in Florida that signed with Airbnb.
Yeah, it was a
So
huge win.
We were early at the table with Airbnb, but they've gotten craftier through the years.
30%, right? Wasn't that the last figure? 30% were,
Short term? Is that what?
it's roughly about 30% of the TDT collection is Airbnb or short-term rentals.
Yeah, we're not excited about having VCAs. It was a decision that had to be made.
What is that term? I'm sorry, VC?
Voluntary collection
Oh,
agreements.
okay, thank you.
yeah, I'm not a fan of them to be, for compliance, because
No,
it does, they withhold a lot of the data,
Especially when it's not mandatory that they
Not-
collect
yeah.
it through their platform. I mean, that's a,
So it's, you're
Gonna be a
kind of left
problem.
with self-reporting. But, the goal is, baby steps, so we can take our training wheels off. We, I can cancel those within 30 days. We have that agreement. And we'll send notification to every one of them, just like many of the counties do right on their websites. Just looked up that there's no voluntary collections agreements here. Everybody's responsible for paying their own taxes. And, we'll have some pushback, but that's just the way it is. And we're going to have to push forward with that.
But
and
again,
get
the
real data.
state is in the same, they're in the same boat. I mean,
Yeah, I
if
can't
it's
speak
not
to
being
that.
remitted to the county, it's not being remitted to this, or if it's not being collected, then it's not going to them either.
right.
Right. Interesting. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Yep. So maybe next time we'll come back and we can show you the mapping system, show you how it works, and, have a little better idea of how it would be useful. Good,
All right, Marty.
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay,
Moving on, sir.
yeah.
Okay, so the next item is talking about our causeway cleaning program. Just as a quick recap, as we mentioned last meeting, we have KBB, we have a contract with KBB. They clean all the causeways at least weekly. And then, we heard from the Waterway Warriors last time, and so we had a good sit-down with them. And on page 9, if you see in your packet, there's a memo for me following that meeting. It was kind of a good recap of sort of where we landed. There are different responsibilities that each organization sort of has and different programs that they're instituting. And so we just wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page. As a result of that meeting, I think where we landed was the Waterway Warriors are not, right at least at this time, seeking funding for the piece of the program that they're doing out on Pineda. And then we had some discussion about 528 as well, which I think the desire was not to necessarily do the same type of program there. And then I had a follow-up conversation with the port because they are the owners of 528 all the way to the middle of the causeway over the Indian River. So they own that stretch really of road from the port all the way to the Indian River. And they're happy with their current collection process, which is using larger receptacles and regular pickups from their waste contractor. So, like I said, I think we landed at a good place. Sharon and Cheryl are here. John Nico is here with KBB. I think Deb is on their board as well. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to maybe just come and say hello, introduce yourselves again. And Sharon, you weren't able to be here the last time, so thought that would be
Well, I
good
have
for you.
cards.
Oh, sorry, sir.
That's all right. I have cards, so if we're going to
Okay.
go to that, we'll do it that way. Do we want to go to the cards, and then you can ask questions?
I think 2 of the cards are
Okay.
them. so,
Right,
yeah.
okay. Well, let's,
So
okay,
however
let's
you
do
want
it.
to do it, sir.
Let's do, KBB's was on top, so I'll take them in the order that they were in. John? Sure. And then after you will be Deb, okay?
All right, well, good afternoon, Commissioner, Committee. John Nico with Keep Our Var Beautiful, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of the organization and the scope of work that we have on 6 of the 7 causeways from the north end of Brevard all the way to the south. That's excluding the NASA Causeway. And last year, when we negotiated our contracts for the upcoming years, we proposed that we would continue the scope of work on the 4 causeways that we were currently cleaning, and then the TDC had requested that KBB if we were interested in maintaining the fifth causeway, which is the Pinena Causeway. At that time, the Waterway Warriors had reached out to me and had asked if we would help them with their volunteer efforts on the Pinena Causeway. And they are out there, well, I think the frequency is less now since we've been on the causeway, but they were out there more frequently cleaning up litter and debris. And we agreed that we would help clean up we would help pick up their collection pile on the day of their volunteer cleanups. Subsequently, after that, we were in conversations, and that scope of work actually changed. So for the last year, we were maintaining a barrel program for the Waterway Warriors, and this is 35-plus barrels on the causeway that are along both the north and south side and tucked in between the foliage of the different shorelines. And so for the past year, we were collecting those on a regular basis every week, along with the additional, well, we were cleaning the causeway, and then an additional scope of work with the barrel program, we were emptying those every week for them as well. So we learned in this last year that this was an effort on our part way above and beyond the scope of our mission. And Cape Brevard Beautiful is here to help people understand how to be better environmental stewards and be responsible for their own pollution and not encourage trash service along natural and public spaces. So in this process, we learned that we understand that when you have containers out there, 35 plus, that those are indicators to the public that you are allowed, you're given permission to dispose of your garbage at any of those locations. We understand through our experience and professional background in working with different waste haulers that the more containers you put out there, the more trash you're going to end up collecting. Those are indicators for people to give more trash in those areas and locations, which that is what we learned. Going back to our mission, we're here to motivate, educate, and inspire people to show environmental stewardship. We do not believe that having those containers out there is helping the issue. In fact, it's bringing more garbage to the area, and we have been working on the other causeways and using those as a model where we are out there weekly, working with the community, educating them about our scope of work, what we're trying to do as far as keeping the shorelines clean, the parks, and all of the public spaces clean from litter and debris without additional infrastructure. So every week we go out there. We have a crew of 2 people out on those causeways, and we spend an average of 6 to 8 hours a day. And we're out there every day during the week. So we understand that with our success so far, that the infrastructure is not necessary, and it does, in fact, it brings additional unintentional consequences. These barrels, although it's well-intentioned to have them out there and provide the service to the public, we have found that it is a danger to wildlife. It breaks the natural feeding and food chain. We have witnessed wildlife getting into those containers, pulling out what you would imagine out of those barrels, rotisserie chicken carcasses, things of that nature that people eat during their picnics, with dirty diapers, fish guts, all in these containers that are sitting there for over, well, a week's time with the heat and rain. And with that creates a biohazard. And our staff is going out there once a week, changing those barrels, and they were in contact with all of this biohazard material, from the maggots to the dead rodents to the things that were collecting in those barrels for over a week. So as a result of that, we were losing staff who would walk out on the job. We were having to staff additional people on the causeway just to cover the scope of work that we're committed to. And although I am more than willing and welcome to work with the Waterway Warriors in collaborating on environmental issues, this is just one program that does not align with our mission, and I hope that we can find other ways in which we can collaborate. So I just received a message today that going back to our original idea of collaboration would have been with the Waterway Warriors in collecting their cleanup pile that's left out there when they do a volunteer cleanup. And that was our initial agreement. That was something we were more than happy to do. And for whatever reason it got shifted, that's fine. But we now learned that this is not a program that aligns with our mission, and we would like to continue our collaboration and going back to the original plan and picking up those large volunteer cleanups that they perform out on the causeway. It's my understanding now that since we've been there, they are doing that less frequently. It's now on a quarterly calendar, which means that both of our efforts is really making a difference. So thank you for your time. I'm open to answer any questions you might have.
Questions? John, let me ask you something. So KBB empties trash cans in Cocoa Beach parks?
We emptied the barrels that are along the beach, yes.
Okay.
And it's a different system.
And how many, guesstimate, how many barrels do you go out on a Saturday and change in Cocoa Beach?
Well, we are out on Cocoa Beach every single day of the week.
Okay, I'm just
And-
trying to pick maybe the busiest day. I don't know.
Well,
And you might have to go sometimes twice?
we're out, we
on
do,
a
we change those
holiday
barrels
weekend?
twice a day.
Twice a day.
7 days a week.
Okay,
Yes, sir. And I would say the weekends are our busiest, and also peak spring break times during the year are our busiest too.
okay,
But
so,
those require changing twice a day for the reasons that it does not create or collect that biohazard material over time.
okay. And also the beaches are busy, certainly in
Yes.
season versus out of season, that kind of thing. But are we talking 200 barrels that are up and down Cocoa Beach, or?
Oh, no.
100
I would say there's between 35 to 45.
for the whole,
I would say 30 at this point right now. We-
okay,
Yes.
30 barrels in Cocoa Beach. Now, I don't mean to be difficult, but I'm a firm believer in if you make it easy for people, you got a much greater chance of them doing the right thing, which is, you know, I'm not going to throw it on the ground, right? I'm going to
Yes, sir.
find a trash can and I'm going to put it in there. So I don't think I agree with you that if we didn't have barrels on the causeway, it would be cleaner. I think it's much easier for someone, if it's convenient, to go over there and put their trash in there. One of the other things is, I believe, also trying to keep stuff out of the river. So don't want trash along the causeway, and the wind comes along, it just picks it up and blows it into the river. So I think that's a core part of their mission as well. Questions for John? Alex?
When the Warriors first asked you to assist with the barrels, was the idea that the barrels were there to collect their cleanups, or was it also designed for public dumping?
So the Waterway Warriors, and I'll let them speak about their programs, but they have different programs. One's a volunteer cleanup event, and then in addition to that, they have the barrel program, which is what we're referring to along the Pineda Causeway. Those barrels are car wash, they're car wash soap barrels that are being repurposed for this reason. They are not safe. They are open. They are now, mind you, I do agree with you, Commissioner Feltner, that if we had the proper barrels out there, and maybe less of them, that we would have less trash coming to that causeway. I'm not arguing the fact that it's cleaner or not. It's about the quantity of trash that is coming to that causeway that is really unnecessary with the additional infrastructure.
You think people are going to the causeway to throw things away?
I think people, when they're sitting along the causeway and they're relaxing, and if they've got trash in their car, they may take the time to clean out their car and use that barrel as a receptacle. I do. I see it a lot. And I think if those receptacles were not there, they may not be inclined to clean out their car.
Okay, because one of the other things that they do is the monofilament containers. And I'm not a big fisherman, okay, but we have a lot of them in this county, and they all say that that's an ingenious thing. Now, that's
Yeah.
just a smaller trash can.
So.
That's for fishing line and things to go into.
Absolutely, and that is a material we, KBB, does not want in the waterways as well. And when I did speak with the TDC in regards to this matter, I had given a proposal in that moving forward and collaborating with the Waterway Warriors, that we would like to use or collaborate on the monofilament program, which is something I would consider doing if they're interested. So. Another point I want to make about these containers that, because they're not suited for this purpose, they are open. Wildlife does get into them. They get trapped in there. And they're also part of the problem in spreading the trash back into the lagoon. These birds and these different rodents, they pull it out of the containers and it gets left out on the ground. And then that's when the weather or windborne, takes it wherever it takes it, so oftentimes back into the lagoon. So this is another issue where we've had staff, picking picking garbage out of the water that was originally in the containers.
Alex?
You mentioned that originally you were amenable to collecting the piles
Yes,
that
sir.
the Warriors had stacked up.
Absolutely.
That had nothing to do with the barrel program initially, right?
No, it did not, and I'm willing to go back to that initial arrangement. If, in fact, we were asked to come out this Saturday to pick up their Piney volunteer cleanup for this Saturday. So I'm open to doing that, absolutely, not a problem.
Okay. Any other questions for
I
John?
just have a quick comment.
Larry?
It's interesting. I think the things that you guys are doing are phenomenal.
Thank you.
And, Commissioner Feltner had a great point where I just think these areas that we have open to the public, whether it's a park, whether it's, the causeway, a lot of people fish there, have picnics, do different things. I mean, I think you have to have some form of a trash can there, or else people will just throw trash on the ground. It'll end up in the lagoon. So I think the solution is definitely probably the right type of receptacles, and you guys maybe not managing the pickup of that trash, but having some sort of receptacle, I think, at these causeway locations that are heavily, it's almost used as like a public park, I think is important.
I would like to say I agree with you on that point, and I would like to work towards a common goal here in putting maybe containers out there, not as many, maybe larger in a centralized location instead of dispersed all over the causeway, and helping people understand that this is more of a responsible process in disposing of their garbage while they're recreating out there on the causeway. I'm in conversations with WM. We're trying to figure out a nice site plan so that we could implement containers out there. It's not that we don't want trash receptacles out there. It just, the system has to be properly implemented. They need to be safe. They need to protect environment. They need to protect wildlife and all of these other, again, unintentional consequences. It's just, I'm trying to help improve this program if I can and be a part of that and work with WM and the Waterway Warriors in finding the most sustainable solution out there. Definitely we're interested in putting something for the people, but I don't think 35-plus barrels that are tucked away along the shoreline that are not intended for that purpose are working at this point in time. So I can report back to you with my findings with WM and what that system looks like, and hopefully we can figure out a better way forward.
Any other questions for John? We're going to have Deb Harmon come up here in a second, also with KBB. No? Deb?
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deb Harmon. I am the board chair for Keep Brevard Beautiful, which has been serving this community for 40-plus years. And I did watch the TDC meeting online last time, and there were some things that I hope the conversations that have ensued and the ones we're having today will clear up. First of all, the Waterway Warriors are doing some fabulous things to help the community along Piney Causeway and other places. And KBB really does value the other volunteer organizations that we partner with. So I think the other thing I want you to remember is that when we came to reestablish the contracts, we were asked to help them, and we've been in a learning exercise. That partnership came together late last year in the fourth quarter. And I think when John and Sharon and Cheryl and all of us went into it, we were sort of still in learning mode about what the level of effort was going to be. And I think the major difference, Commissioner Feltner, on the barrels out there versus, say, the barrels on Cocoa Beach, where we tip barrels every day, is though that trash is getting tipped and removed from the site every day, or at least twice a day. And that's the difference with the barrels that are over on the causeway. And I do think, too, we've seen an increase in trash, maybe just because of the usage. It's a beautiful area. And I think looking at other solutions together and figuring out what's really going to work without creating more problems is really what John is proposing that we would do. The board of our organization is very committed to this community. And the scope of work that we took on actually continued to grow because of the barrel program. And I don't think we could have anticipated how the problems that would have been encouraged there. And I think the Waterway Warriors were picking up more frequently before we got involved. So we're here to help get it sorted out and keep the community clean, but we also are not a sanitation department. We pick up litter and trash. And there was maybe a perception that was left the last time around that somehow our job was easier because of the Waterway Warriors. And I will tell you, on every causeway that we work on, there's enough work for everybody. So it isn't just, it isn't one makes the other better. There is that much trash out there, and I can show you those pictures, or John can bring them to you, causeway to causeway. So we need all of our efforts. We are making good and then some on the commitments that we've made to this county, and the Waterway Warriors are doing fabulous things, and we're all trying to work together to make it better. So if you have a question, I'd be happy to answer it.
Do we have a question for Deb? Okay, thank you. Sharon?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sharon Knoll, and I am with the Waterway Warriors, and that's Cheryl Spacio over there. And we are one of an entire core group of people that are working, as KBB is also working, to try and not only keep this community beautiful, but our focus is keeping the trash out of the water. And if you don't mind, can we play the video? And this will give us it'll give you guys a little bit of an introduction as to who we are. And then I'll make a couple of points and let you all ask questions.
The Indian River Lagoon is one of the most biodiverse estuaries in North America, and it's home to a lot of ecologically sensitive species.
Brevard County's identity is amazingly tied to this lagoon.
Everybody wants to live somewhere clean and beautiful. You don't want to go to the beach and have trash washing up, and go to the river and fish out of it and have trash floating around.
Every time a piece of garbage goes into the waterway, it's landing on the bed of the river, and it's inhibiting growth of plants. That serves as a nursery for fish. It serves as food for manatees.
Trash that appears by our waterways comes from 3 different sources. It is accidental stuff that blows out of trucks and cars and boats. Second source is debris that is left behind by fishermen or families, homeless. The third source of trash comes from intentional dumping.
So our goal is really to collect the garbage that's left along the side of the water before it can get into the water.
We have twice monthly trash pickups with a group of volunteers.
We have barrels that we've installed along different areas for fishermen, families to be able to remove their trash and put their trash in it.
80% of all the trash that was on the shorelines is now in these barrels. So it's been a very successful project.
Fishing line recycling program. So we call it MERP, the Monofilament Recovery and Recycling Program is what we have here in the county. And we have about 130 bins countywide.
You know, we've got folks who leave pallets, they have these pallet fires that they burn, and it leaves nails on the ground to where, you know, people that walk by can step on them. Waterway Warriors has been a tremendous help to the Florida Department of Transportation in helping us keep the right-of-way along our waterways clean.
Waterway Warriors is great at organizing people and events and cleanup, but they're also always forward-looking to how can we do this more efficiently? How can we do this better? How can we prevent the pollution in the first place? They're just a fantastic organization that we're very fortunate to have.
When communities unite, the ripple effect begins. Now it's time for city leaders to step up, partner with the Waterway Warriors, and lead the way to cleaner, healthier waters. Bold leadership starts here. Is your city ready?
Okay, so that's a little bit of an overview of what we do. Just to make sure that everyone understands, we're passing out some folders. It kind of elaborates more on what I'm about to say. Waterway Warriors is a 501c3. We are not a group of volunteers, but we are volunteer-driven, meaning we don't have anybody on staff. Everyone, we don't have an office, we don't have property, and we are completely community funded. That is who we are. To date, the last, we're going to call it around 4 years, we have prevented and removed about 101 tons? 110. Sorry, 110, she's our data keeper, from getting into the water. So we do it in a lot of different ways. Yes, we have boots on the ground events. Yes, we have a barrel program, which I'd like to talk to in a minute. We actually have adopted 7 different locations, different property owners, and this is the most important part, is we fall under and we use the guidelines of the property owner that we've adopted the location at. So we've adopted through FDOT, we've adopted through the city of Cocoa, we've adopted through the city of Rockledge, and our goal is to adopt a location, try and create some kind of a baseline clean, figure out what the source of the trash is. Is it dumping? Is it thoughtless trash, which we'll come back to in a minute? Is it stuff that's blowing out of the waterways? And then we adapt our maintenance program to that source.
Each property is different. There's different reasoning for, there's different reasons for the litter. So it could be accidental at one location, at the other one it's actually just dumping. And so we just go specifically for that. And that's where we make our decisions. And also, what we make our decisions on is by the property owner. The property owner has rules and guidelines that they've set for us that we must follow. So at FDOT, everything that we do goes through them if we adopt their property. When we adopted the ones in Cocoa Beach, we sat down with their city councilor and their mayor and found out exactly what their rules were and how we could help them. We're asking the cities, how can we help you? And then you're telling us, and then that's how we work.
We work within those boundaries. I would like everyone to know that we have multiple collaborations within the course of our operation. KBB did our barrels last year. It was a very, very substantial thing that they did. We want to give them absolute credit for that. But we have multiple collaborations that we do within the year with the different organizations. We are 100%, let me say it again, we are 100% data-driven. We do not come up with solutions off the top of our willy-nilly heads. We absolutely follow the data. And when we first started cleaning up Pineda, we're going to call it back in 2019, 2020, what we were noticing is the trash on the ground was very substantial. It was so substantial that twice a month, the second and the fourth Saturday, we had to have large groups of cleanups, large groups of volunteers doing cleanups on the causeway. That was mandatory for us to be able to keep up with the trash. I think I would take exception to a certain extent that the barrel program, there are only 35 barrels on the causeway. It is because of the barrel program that we've been able to take our large groups of people to other locations, be able to adopt other locations. Pineda is not the only location with barrels. O'Galley West has barrels, and we've heard from both the community, the Melbourne PD, and the city of Melbourne that it is working fabulously, that the trash is now being contained within the barrel itself. It's no longer dirty around. And that means sometimes, yeah, the homeless do put their stuff in there. And sometimes people clean out their cars in there. But the vast majority of the things that are in the barrel are the people that are recreating along the shorelines. So it is bait. The bait trays, if anyone's here a fisherman, it is the bait trays. If they are recreating, yes, there's a diaper in there. But we would rather have the diaper in the barrel than on the shoreline. 80%, and that's what our data has shown us in the 4 years that we did the program while we were collecting data. KBB was unable to do the data collection for the year. But 80% of the trash that was on the ground ended up in the barrel. And our goal is to stop the trash from getting into the waters. So, the style of barrel was what part of the conversation here. And Angela, how do I put this in?
And when we left the meeting with TDC the other day, we said that we would do research and get back with TDC as to what kind of barrels do we use, what kind of barrels are best. And so we did do our research, and we did send all that to Peter, and so he has that, he's aware of this presentation.
So what we found, and I will, while she's looking it up, that's the visual part. We actually sent our volunteers out to figure out what kinds of barrels are out there in the world. We talked to Brevard County, and what they have said is, there we go, perfect, thank you. Yeah, that would be great. Well, actually, hold on to it. I'm going to talk first.
Yeah.
Let's save some paper if we can. So, here are the barrels, our barrels on Pineda. This is the barrel that's on Pineda with the county. That's the Indy Atlantic barrel, which is also open top. This is Lori Wilson Park. And you can see, let's see if it'll do it. Oh, good, it will.
That's a little
Our
squirrel.
volunteers filmed the squirrel going in and out of the barrel. Hold on.
Grabs a cracker.
Let's see here. This is what was in the barrel. The barrel was practically empty.
So we had to crawl back out.
He got back out. He was munching away, doing his little thing. So what we found is throughout the county, open-top barrels.
I'd like to know the blood sugar of a squirrel that eats
I
out
know.
of the trash
This is
can.
very
I want to know the body
I don't
mass
know why I
index
have,
of
why
this.
do I have to worry about carbohydrates?
So open-top barrels
Is what everyone-
seems to be,
That's
and according to the county, the preferred style so that animals can go in and out. They do not get trapped inside the barrel. Now, we spoke with a number of the cities around with their barrel, their waste management, their park and rec people, and the barrels are actually maintained sometimes in a once a month, depending on the location. Sometimes every other week, sometimes it's every week, sometimes it's every day. Every location is different depending on the amount of stuff that's in the barrel or whatever their agreement is with their people. So when it comes to the open top barrel itself, we are following the county guidelines. FDOT, which is the owner of the properties that we operate with under on Pineda, FDOT has approved these. Yes, they are. Tommy's Express has donated all of their soap barrels to us. We either sell them for buckets or we sell them to the public for rain barrels, City of Melbourne for rain barrels, or we use them for our barrel program. And that is who we are in a little nutshell.
Does anyone want a copy of the presentation on the trash barrels?
So we've got the picture. We printed out a few copies.
We can make sure that we leave them over here, so if members want to grab one when we leave today, they have that ability, and I'll return you anything that's not used. So I'm kind of combining your cards since you each did one, and the two of you. That's okay. That's okay. Questions for the Waterway Warriors? questions?
Leave it in just, oh, sorry.
So, in this memo that Peter sent, is there any issues with how he laid out? Is this how it's going to go from here on out? Is that what the roadmap was, Peter?
Yeah, I mean, I believe it kind of clearly delineated, the different programs and particularly with Pineda and 528. 528 is a totally different program. It has a large collection devices, so bigger receptacles that are picked up on a regular schedule. So it's a little bit of a different animal, and the port seems to really like that program. They did not want to go to a barrel program, and they're the owners of 528. So that's kind of where they're at on it. So, yeah.
Julie?
I'm just so happy that you guys have found what appears to be a working relationship and finding your niche and complementing each other that is very uncommon in our culture right now. And to see this coming together and working for the betterment of the community as a whole and tourism is really exciting to see that.
Thank you, thank you. And we disagree on things.
And that's okay.
And that's totally fine, and we attempt to work it through. But yeah, we appreciate the relationship with KBB and everything they're doing for the county also.
Around the front of this complex, you'll see a bunch of Chick-fil-A packets on the ground, and I've walked into the building and somebody would say, "I can't believe people eat Chick-fil-A, throw their chicken packet stuff on the ground." And I've told them, I said, "No, I've learned about this too." And it's the squirrels, and they go in the trash can, and whatever is in those little packets, the barbecue sauce or whatever, the squirrels around here are addicted to it. And but what's really fascinating, the thing I find most interesting when people say, "I can't believe somebody would throw this on the ground," notice that they are perfectly clean. There's not one little drop of anything in there, and that tells you that a squirrel licked it clean. And but they're not very far from the trash cans, so we certainly have them around here too, and they're clever and they'll do what they need to do. I appreciate, obviously, what you ladies have done, and I think one of the part of their video might have been from the day we picked up basically the dock that was dropped off, and I was horrified by that. And they had called and they said, "Hey, there's the remnants basically of a dock on Pineda," and I got Road and Bridge guys to show up with a dump truck, and with the Waterway Warriors, we picked up every splinter of it and put it in a dump truck, and then they ran that nail magnet thing across there and got all the nails. And it was probably intended for a bonfire, because you could see that. You could see the burnt remains of stuff up and down the causeway. So I think that's probably what it's for. I don't think somebody was relocating, torn up dock off of the causeway, but they were out there to clean it all up, and I appreciate it. Okay, are there other questions or comment? Peter?
No.
Sir?
Nothing for me.
Commissioner?
Here, real quick, we'll go to Larry and then Mayor
Just want
Connors.
to say, I think it's great what you guys are doing, the organization, and I think in a way it's a shame that you guys have to work so hard to clean up all these areas. I think one of the things we're not talking about is, we have these organizations around that are going up and having to clean up all this horrific trash. I wonder if we should focus on the citizens that are littering so much, and maybe there's a way that we can curb that and make both your jobs a little bit easier. Because that's really the solution, not getting more volunteers, not keeping up with it faster. It's how do we stop people from doing it?
Well, I learned something,
bad
actually. I'll let Sharon speak to that, because she educated me on that subject specifically, because you've asked law enforcement about that issue, right? And what did...
We've met with law enforcement, we've met with the sheriff department who we operate under or operate with on the Pineda, and we met with Melbourne PD, who we also partner with our Horse Creek and other locations. And what they said is this: unfortunately, unless you have a photograph of the person actually littering, law enforcement have no teeth to do anything.
There is a fine for it, but they just can't.
Yeah.
But there's no enforcement ability from law enforcement to be able to pursue the charge unless there is some kind of photographic proof. So we know that we're not allowed to install, oh, this is being recorded.
Another thing that we're doing is educating our community, and so we go to a lot of events, like we went to the Indian River Lagoon this past weekend, then we went to Vera Voice, they had a trunk or treat, so we're educating them young. So we have a pool out there with all kinds of trash in it, and the kids are fishing for trash, so we're educating them that way. And then also what we're doing is at the Indian River Lagoon, we're also developing those relationships and collaborations with all the other nonprofits that are doing the same goal, cleaning up our waterway. So we do a lot of education throughout the year.
And I think that's actually a focus that the KBB is starting with, tell me if I'm wrong, trying to capture something like the high school age students that are actually out there partying. That is, if we can capture that age group, show them the impact, that would be something that would live with them hopefully for the remainder of their adult life. That's not our focus, but we would be absolutely supportive of that happening. But bad actors, we can't do anything about.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
I'm sorry. Mayor Connors, sir, you had,
Thank you, Commissioner. And just like the squirrels, I have a problem with Chick-fil-A sauce.
oh, okay.
But
You like it clean though, do you?
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
But it seems like, I, again, appreciate KBB and Waterway Warriors for coming here, and it sounds like for this memo, everybody clearly has their lane, and they're good at it, but we can work together and help each other when needed. I think it kind of comes back to the initial reason why they came to us in the first place, is how are you going to pay for the $20,000 you're looking for in terms of contracting? So, it's all well good we can buy out, but, we as a council, what are we going to decide to do about that?
Thank you for bringing that up, Mayor Connors. I apologize, that was, I did not cover that within my little chat here. The Pineda is being taken care of by a contractor, licensed contractor, vetted contractor who believes in the mission so much that he is willing, is a $15,000 quote that we got. He was willing to do half of that with in-kind donation services. So we are able to fund the $7,500 plus the cost of the program through the course of the year. He is doing the other half. So it's right on junk removal. I would love to give them a shout out. He has been wonderful to work with, and he believes in the mission. So our cost for the Pineda for this year is $7,500, just for the barrel contractor, and then the program cost we were already expecting to.
But our main reason why we wanted to come up here is let you know, introduce us properly to you, because a lot of you thought we were a volunteer organization, and we're not. We are an official 501c3 nonprofit approved by the IRS, and we have tax IDs, we have insurance. We're just a functioning organization being ran as a business.
Can I ask a technical question here, Peter? Based on that, can the TDC pay the Waterway Warriors the $7,500, and then they have basically their employee, if you will, that's their deal, go and change the barrel liners? That's what we're down to, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here? Is that,
Yeah, I'd have
that
to look
Justin, is
into
that a
the-
legal question that, I'm sorry, maybe I'm asking the wrong.
I'd have to get with Peter if that would come out of like marketing, or I'm not sure where.
Yeah, I mean, right now, what we pay KBB, that comes out of the beach.
That comes out of the beach.
Yeah.
Do we consider causeways a beach?
The people that recreate there do.
It comes out of, right, so, I mean, there's a portion of the beach budget that deals with the IRL, so basically, that's the bucket that it would come from.
We
Yeah.
already have contracts with the derelict boat removal program, KVB. So there's things that from the holdover of the grant money that we were, formerly the IRL grant money that we were issuing, that we stopped doing in order to build up the reserves for the Beach Renourishment Fund. There are still some contracts that are under that line, right?
Right.
That are still coming out. So it's not, the beach fund is not just, so you don't have to rename it. That's what I'm trying to say. You can just keep it the lagoon. It's just whether there's money there that is available to do this. And the only thing I say is we've done this a couple of times now outside of the grant process, which just previously was in kind of the grant process. So we're kind of making some, I feel like we're making a trend in this case now, you know what I mean? Like we kept the derelict, yeah, which is fine, but we can do it outside of that if we need to. And I don't know if I was saying if it's legal.
Well, I mean,
I don't know
$7,500
if it's legal, but I'm just saying that's what we're.
$7,500 to keep them
Yeah.
working and changing the liners. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
For this year.
So I guess back to my technical question, is that something we'd have to research and come back to our next meeting to be able to answer
Yeah, I mean,
definitively?
I thought I was under the impression
We're not
that they are
They're not
not
asking.
asking for
I'll
this
ask.
fiscal year. Okay, but you're asking, sir.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll-
so,
I'll
I mean,
ask.
I would always say, you know, if it's something that this board wants to do and the county commission wants to do, then I don't see anything that would be an obstacle to that.
Okay, I guess that's a sort of a legal question for the county attorney's office, whether we can pay Waterway Warriors the way they're structured so that they can continue that program. So maybe,
Off the cuff, I don't see it too much different than what we do with KBB already.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're paying for them to do what's laid out in their contract.
all right, let's take a sort of a half step here. Let's say among this board today and the people that are here, that if the county attorney's office were to say to me in the next couple of days, sure, Commissioner, you could do that, and we have a commission meeting on Tuesday, okay, so I think that'd be quick to bring that to the board. Is it something this board would agree to if it's deemed that's legally permissible, and then the county commission could take that up on Tuesday?
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Somebody want to make that, can we do that?
I mean, we can make a motion. I think we have to have a motion that we're requesting that if this is working out, then that's the route that they would go. When you need a motion.
Justin, is that, sir, do you have any issue with that? Okay. Is that your motion, or you wanted to make a motion?
No,
Or
it's
some-
not my motion. I was just saying that technically, I'm trying to wrap my head around it at this second.
We can bring it back in November. I'm only saying to you that if this is timely, we have a commission meeting
Gotcha.
on Tuesday. Otherwise, the Board of County Commissioners would have to take that up in November after our November TDC meeting, which is
November 12th.
on the 12th.
But this is money for next year, right? Not, or is it money that you guys need immediately?
We don't need money. The fact that Commissioner Feltner is bringing this forward, we are community funded. So the reality is, every dime that we are able to, that we were given, goes towards the programs within our scope, not our staff, not our overhead, not any of that. So we've got $15,000, that's what our contractor cost, September 2015 to September 2016. That's our annual year with our current contractor right on junk removal.
25 to 26, you mean?
20, what did I say?
That was 10 years
15 and
ago.
16.
Oh,
Yeah.
crap. Sorry,
So, yeah,
everybody.
it's his
2025,
quote.
2026. That was his
Okay.
quote, was the 15,000. He is doing 7,500 in in-kind donations. So
We're coming up with. this
We're
other
coming up
service.
with the other
And
7,500.
it's strapping us, but we have it, we can do it, but if, you
I know,
want to help us,
that's not
it's
really
great.
what your fundraising is about, though. It's about the other things that you do. Okay, so we bring this back in November? Is that what we need to do, and we'll wait for, what do we want to do?
I was going to make a motion that
Okay.
we waive the committees on this particular funding and award the Warriors the $7,500 to immediately assist with their barrel program dumping.
If that's deemed okay from the county attorney's office?
If that's a legal avenue, yes.
All right. Have a motion by Alex.
I would second that
All right.
motion.
Have a second by Mr. Jarnes. Call the roll on that.
Julie Braga,
Aye.
Mayor Connors,
Yes.
Larry Johns,
Yes.
Alex Littrell,
Yes.
Wayne Sword,
Yes.
and Chair Feltner.
Yes. Okay, we'll see what we can get done, get an answer on this the next couple of days, and hopefully the Board of County Commissioners can take it up, and we'll let you all know, okay? All right.
Appreciate your time.
Yes,
Thank you and your
absolutely.
support.
Thank you.
100%. Okay, does anybody want to take a quick 5-minute break before we go to Peter? Let's take a 5-minute break. I want to take a 5-minute break.
We've never taken
Okay, I think we're going to get back to it.
Other side, and it's gone. That's what it was. It's gone.
It used to could be.
Okay, Alex, sorry, sir, we're gonna get back to it here. All right, yes, okay, all right, okay,
Thank you.
bye. Okay, Peter.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm going to try to be relatively quick. I know there's a couple people need to get out, and I do have a vote I need. But I did want to point out on page 13, we did get August TDT came in. Just a touch below the 1.8 million. So we are currently tracking to have our best year. If we get to what I believe will be about 1.5 million for September, that's kind of where we're projecting. That would get us to 25.8 million, which would be our highest year we've ever had. It was 25 and a quarter last year and 25 and a half the year before. So that's kind of exciting. So we'll keep everybody posted and I was very interested in what the clerk had to say about collection, because they're doing the September collection. So the more they collect, the closer we'll get to that number. We did not, so as I mentioned last time, we did not have a budget report. We're letting all the final reconciliations occur this month, so we will have a report on the final end-of-year budget in November, so that'll come in November. Now I'm going to move, based on the conversation we had last time on the operating procedures manual, made 2 changes, and I wanted to see. Thank you. I just wanted to see if we could get a vote on that. So the operating procedures manual starts on page 14, but the first change is on page 19, and I'll just read it real quick. The council shall meet on an as-needed basis, but not less than, and it was 10, I made it 6 times per year. And then I said staff will schedule 10 meetings per year, but with the approval of the chair, the director may cancel the meetings that don't have enough significant items on the agenda. So that's one. And then if you recall earlier this year, we had voted to suspend the sports and cultural committees because we were shifting to the marketing support program, and the marketing support program comes directly to the TDC. So we really didn't have anything for those committees to sort of opine on, because now that program is sort of coming directly here. So I just crossed out under the subcommittee section. I crossed out those 2 committees needing to meet because frankly, we wouldn't have anything for them to do. So that's on page 23. You'll see that
21.
change. I'm sorry, on page 21, and then also on page 23. Sorry, thank you for that. So, sir, with that, I'm just going to open it up for questions or let you.
Okay, questions for Peter on those requested updates, changes?
I'll motion
Julie?
to approve the changes as presented.
Second.
Okay, very good. I have a motion by Julie, have a second by Mayor Connors. We'll call the roll on the changes.
Julie Braga,
Aye.
Mayor Connors,
Yes.
Larry John,
Yes.
Alex Liptrus,
Yes.
Wayne Sword,
Yes.
Chair Feltner.
Yes, we'll show that adopted. Thank you. Peter, anything else there?
No, sir, that was it for my report. Thank you.
I think we already took care of the public comment.
We did, yeah.
Lisa, did you have anything else? I know you're back there. All right. All right. So let me, I just have one quick thing. We had a request before for county finance to come and talk. I think Vice Chair Hermanson had wanted to have a presentation on interest collected on accounts. And so we did contact Mark Peterson. And, okay, I don't think I told you that, Peter, I'm sorry. So on November 12th, we'll put Mark on the agenda, okay? I think that's the only other note that I had on that. We'll do Board report, we'll just go around the table. Mayor Connors, sir.
No report. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Alex?
Nothing to report, sir.
Julie?
I have two things to report on. We had a great beach committee meeting yesterday to wrap up the year. We had two for the full year. But we had a great presentation from Mike McGarry about the beaches and the areas that have been impacted by these offshore storms, because we have had some mid-reach, and just kind of the status of where we are in our reserves. We also had an IRL grant funding presentation from Daniel at One Lagoon. And we, I forgot, we had a really great presentation from the sea turtle monitoring people on the mid-reach. And they found that the turtles, because the concern was the sand that we put on the beach in the mid-reach was going to cover up the rocks, is where the turtles use for nesting and foraging and feeding. The artificial reef that was built is not only being used, it's thriving by all different age groups, as well as the turtles are still using the rocks that are still present. And there was some covering of the rocks during the storms, but that's already dissipated naturally and been displaced by nature. So that was a really great report. Everyone loves turtles, and it's the most popular license plate. I learned that yesterday too. And then the seagrass, we got a seagrass presentation where one area they did a trial was doing great in Titusville, and one area did not do great, so they're studying that. And the most impressive presentation is what I brought to you today was I was very excited about this because when I was originally on the beach committee a couple years ago, this was part of the IRL grant funding that we did, the $1 million that was set aside. And if you don't know Laura Lee Thompson, she's very passionate, so I said I'll try to present this to you. But she brought this idea to the committee, and it's in this colored packet here, several years ago. And she mentioned it took her 10 years of begging and pleading to get this done. And it was kind of hard to visualize these, so the resilience of the shoreline. The water moves so quickly there, it was taking away the sand and the wind. It's actually known for one of the best places in Florida for windsurfing and wind sports because of the direction of the causeway is more like north-south instead of like east-west, I guess. So they built these, sorry, I don't remember the name of it. WADS. Oh, WADS? Wave attenuation. Yes, sorry, I knew I was going to forget that. But they were built off-site. I think they weighed like 600 pounds or lots of pounds, and then they craned them all in. 600 sounded too little, but it sounded heavy yesterday, I don't know. And then they explained how she decided how they, if you look at the pages, how they staggered them. And it's not, this picture here with the light pole, this is the shoreline before they implanted the WADS. And then if you look at the very next picture, you can see after the shoreline's been restored, they've had major wind events. Here's the same light post. The shoreline has not receded at all from this. So it's very, very successful program. And like I think Mayor Connor said, the other side of the causeway, they don't have these WADS there, and they're having major issues, and she talked about that yesterday with it. But they have the area still restricted while the vegetation is growing back. And this picture here, and once that is all solidified, and then it's going to be a great recreational area. But this is a trial. It's like the first time it's ever been done anywhere. So I just thought it was really neat and interesting. It was something we should be really proud of because this information they've received from this is that it's working really well. This is attracting birds and fish and all kinds of natural wildlife. And she said that it takes like a year or something for this concrete to get this film on it, and it'll then build oysters, and everything will cling to it. It'll become like a reef in the kind of sense. So she said it's very, very healthy, and that process is moving. So I just want to share with you, this project would not have been possible without the Indian River Lagoon grant money that we issued, because she needed seed money originally to do the test, to get the information, the feasibility study, and all of those things. And so as I continue to say, the beach fund is about keeping sand on the beach, which is our #1 priority. But as we build up our reserves, this is evidence of other great projects that we've been able to accomplish with that beach fund money. So a very huge success story, and it's an honor to be part of this. These scientists, they're just amazing. They just blow it.
Can I ask a question? How much does it cost? Or
She presented her budget yesterday, and I think it was like $500,000 approximately, right? It was a $40,000.
They got, well, from us, they got about just under 600,000, but the
Yeah.
total project was in the millions.
Oh, yeah, that's right, 'cause she had
it
other
was
funding
way,
sources.
Way more than that. So we're a part of that, but we're not, I don't even know that we were the biggest contributor.
She
I
did
don't
say it wouldn't have
remember,
been possible without us, though.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just saying.
We funded all the upfront research to
Yeah.
get all the other millions in funding.
But I think these are the additional
actually get the
partners at the bottom of the first page, and I mean, Laura Lee, I'm sure would be happy to break that down.
Sir?
Did she bring up nano bubbles?
Yeah.
She did not talk nano bubbles.
All right, I'll give you guys an update on nano bubbles next meeting.
I'm going to go look at nano bubbles too.
She did talk
Okay.
about the horseshoe crabs, which she always does.
So we're actually working through some things to do a pilot study of nanobubble technology.
Moliere?
Yeah, in our lagoon, or in our marina. And we're bringing in partners from EDC, Laura Lee, maybe even some of the space companies to see if this injection of ozone will help oxygenate the water to help.
They have a
naturally occur.
project in Winter Park
Mhm.
that's kicking off soon, and I want to go see it myself. That's what I asked. I said, can I
Mhm.
see this working somewhere? So,
And then-
go ahead, Julie.
No, you
Sorry.
go ahead. You had a question about that?
Well, I was, I'm looking at this, and I can't help but wonder, because we talk a lot about derelict vessel removal, and, I'm not a boater. I hear people say, hey, this boat was drifting in the river and hit my dock. Now I've got this new problem, and I'm curious, I would think these things would be heavy enough that if a derelict vessel comes that way, they're not moving out of the way for it.
No.
So that might end up.
No, originally when she presented it, I was confused as to how you would even, like how boaters and everybody, but they stick so far out of the water that it's, you're not going to miss it.
But again, if it's a boat that's adrift, there is nobody on it. It's just going to end there, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
I think it would hang them up there for sure.
But I would
Yeah.
rather, be there than on the shore, right?
Yeah, because I just assume as it gets shallower, right, and you're making your way toward, the causeway, the beach, the shoreline part of it, if you will, that it gets stuck on rocks anyways. That's what
Yeah.
happens now.
So
Yeah.
this part shows the energy of how much the waves and the wind hit, and then this is a completely calm lagoon on the other side.
Mhm.
Like, it's very impressive when you look at it like that. So, yeah.
Interesting. It is interesting. Okay.
I just have one other item
Yes.
on my report, which is not related to the beach committee. I am very excited to say we are almost at the end of our renovation, and we have the official renovation reveal party, which is going to be on Thursday, November 13th, from 4:30 to 6:30. We'd love to show off the investment that our owners have placed in this community and our longstanding commitment to providing outstanding Marriott service for years to come.
And there'll be refreshments.
There is going to be, of course, it's a hotel party. You can't have people over to your house and not have refreshments. So I'd love for you all to come.
That's great. Oh.
And this is my report.
Okay, very good. Larry, sir?
I'm
Have anything
good.
aboard?
I'm good.
board
I do not
report?
have a report
Okay.
this month.
Wayne, sir?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Nothing, sir.
Peter, we're all done. I think I said what I needed to on the mark. If I forgot something, I'm sorry. Everybody, November 12th, right? That's our next one?
Yes.
And will we get an updated calendar, I guess, going forward?
We usually do that over the break, and
Yeah,
then
okay.
we'll circle with the
Okay.
new chair or the existing chair and review all that.
All right, everyone, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.